E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna Guinwa, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Guinwa Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. And of course, our good friend, Mr. Bill Heinrich. He is the author of The 7 Levels of Truth. And let me show you this book here. I've got it all under this. I always have a bunch of stuff in my studio. It's the only way I can get things done. Can't have one or two things around. I got to have a boatload of stuff. But The 7 Levels of Truth by Mr. Bill Heinrich. I always goof it up with the cameras. Hope you can see that. But this book here is all about finding yourself and, helping you find the answers to life that's been bugging you. Also, too, I had the privilege and honor of being invited to put my story, Lessons from the Heart, from my heart attack, open heart surgery, in this book right here by Austin Haynes, Your Health Turnaround Story. And I'm one of 9 or 10 authors in this book. I was very honored to be there. And we're so happy to be able to share information, because being able to provide good information for folks out there, that's what made our show and other shows like ours so popular. And today, before I get started, I'm going to do something that she doesn't even know I'm going to do. Now, when I say she doesn't know I'm going to do this, I'm talking about a dear high school friend of mine, Bonnie Walker. In my shout out today, and we're going to give us several shout outs today that's very applicable for this show, because we're all about youth making a difference. And I got so many marquees up here, usually I have help. So when they put me in a studio without help, I'm dangerous like that. But I want to give a shout out to Bonnie Walker's father, Ted. I worked with Ted back starting in 1965, when I was 17 years of age in the Ester mill. It's a textile mill there in my hometown of Shelby, North Carolina. And the thing about Mr. Ted that really made an impression on me, and it stuck with me all these years, was that he was a guy that came to work. He was low key. He knew what needed to be done. He did it. He never complained. And he loved his cigarettes and his coffee. And he was just a prince of a gentleman for me to be around as a young guy, because the way he talked to me, he just talked to me like as a friend. And I can see why his daughter, Bonnie, turned out to be such a wonderful, beautiful lady that she is, because her dad was just top notch. I did not have the privilege of knowing her mother, but I imagine her mother was pretty much in the same category. But I wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Ted, his memory and all, because it's important for us to remember when we're traveling down the pathway of life, we're going to be touching people's lives. And youth making a difference, they require good mentorship. And with us today, our guest is Mr. Adam Green. And we're going to be talking about that. And we're also going to be giving out a shout out. You can see his marquee there, Adam Green. Adam's music is XATOMX. And I think he said it was on Spotify and a couple other places. Just put some quarters in the jukebox and let it play, That's our philosophy here. But let's give a shout out to Adam. Thank him so much for taking the show on a short notice. We had a cancellation, but we're so honored and pleased to have you here, Adam. And you heard me give a shout out to Ted, Bonnie Walker's father. And it's so important, because men in our lives, from being kids all the way up to our teenage years and beyond, they can make a very positive impact in our lives. They can be the mentors that we really need, because we need mentors from all sources.
Absolutely, Jim. Yeah.
Yeah. Not just our family, but let me invite you to the show, say hello to you. And
hey,
We're so glad to have you here. And trying to
Glad to be
think of
here.
someone. Can you think of someone we could give a shout out to? Someone that really um, has touched our lives and been a blessing to both of us. Let's see, who would that be?
Yes. Well, my father is one very large inspiration in my life, Mark Green, as you know.
Oh yeah,
And he is a motivational speaker, life coach, and entrepreneur himself.
yes, he is.
He is
He's
a great
Go ahead.
man. You know,
Mhm,
I've been with him his entire, my waking life as a
mm.
21-year-old.
Oh yeah.
And he is definitely someone you can go to with a question. You know what I mean? He's
Mhm.
open to people
Yeah.
asking him about how to be better, for themselves,
Oh
rather
yeah.
than him telling them what they can do to be better for themselves. They like
Mhm,
you seek yourself preservation as well
mhm.
as your self betterment.
There you
I
go.
think everyone does, in that regard, especially us young people going and growing
Oh
into
yeah.
our industries, our work fields, our passions, our wants and needs. We are all acclimating to new types and ways of working, which has mental issues. At the same time, it has
Mhm,
mental benefits,
mhm.
depending on the companies that we work with.
Absolutely.
So,
Because I first met your dad, I'm trying to think. I met him through Tamara Hunter, a good friend of ours, and he was doing and I should remember this because I did a 1 hour vertical presentation. It was back during I think 2020 during the pandemic, if I remember correctly,
mhm.
and since they wouldn't let us go anywhere, we decided to become stars on the internet. A star was born, right?
Absolutely.
But
It all happens here,
yeah,
this is a safe space for
yes, it
most and
is.
also can be, a place where you ask the question, you shall receive, whatever you
Oh yeah.
desire to have in your life. It's to create whatever you want, a
It's a
life for
great
you. Yeah,
it's a great opportunity for folks to be able to share an inspiring message with someone else. I mean, it doesn't have to be a TV show like this. I mean, goodness gracious, you can do a Zoom or get on YouTube.
there's mediums out
Oh,
there for you to choose.
mm,
It is up to you to choose that medium and dedicate your time, your energy.
mhm.
And one thing that people will not know about me immediately is that I think of money as energy. It's
Mhm.
it's the good energy that comes in when
Oh,
someone
yeah.
donates to you. It's the good energy that comes in when you get some money on your birthday, grandma
Mhm.
giving you a card or something.
Mm.
Or it's the energy that, if I'm on the street and someone hands me a quarter,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's a s
Sure.
it can go
Sure.
from that point all the way up until, having a big party and everyone spending all their
Oh,
time
yeah.
with you, that
Oh,
energy as
yeah.
well.
Absolutely.
So,
Because when you demonstrate and you have positive energy in your life, it just starts vibrating. It's just like if
absolutely.
you're walking into a store and you smile at someone that's coming out and just good morning, or that's what I normally do. I normally
Mhm.
get a smile back. But if
And
I
our
walk in,
energies are contagious, yeah.
yes, it dominoes out there. It just reverberates right on out there. Because if I walked into a store and someone's coming out and I look at them and go, I mean, they're gonna give me a reflection of the energy that I, tried to transmit to them.
Mhm.
And it still has that domino effect, whether it's positive or negative, doesn't make a
And
difference.
that's yeah, that's some of the teachings that I've been taught through my
Yeah.
father, who I consider not only my best
Mhm.
friend and my
Mhm.
father, but also a mentor.
Oh, yeah.
I've been with him on a few of his speaking engagements, and each
Mhm.
one of those, he has a book out right now as well. He's an author,
Mhm.
called The 7 R's of Resiliency. It's
Mm.
the Step Out, Step Up. It's what's
Oh,
the
yeah.
book called.
I
Yes,
remember
and
that.
you
Yeah.
probably heard of, yeah.
He had a
He
Gmail, he's got a Gmail address like that.
Absolutely, yeah. So
Step out, step up
he
G.
made an
Yeah.
account for the book and,
Yeah.
started producing that. And then
It
when
sure does.
we did speaking engagements giving away the books to
Mhm.
veterans,
Mhm.
hence the theme of this week.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
say happy for the freedom that you've given us. Thank you so much, all of you out there who
Mhm.
are veterans and have served
Mhm.
and taken the time out of
Mhm.
your families'
Yeah.
lives as well as your own to provide
Mhm.
us with such. So just wanted
Absolutely,
to put
because
that out there as well.
one of the things I love about energy, ladies and gentlemen, is that every now and then an idea will come to you. And I hadn't talked to your dad, Mark, in probably a year and a half or something.
Oh,
Maybe closer to two. I don't remember. We may have sent a few, messages back and forth, but I mean, actually talked to him, and I got him on the phone, and I was says, "Hey, next week is Veterans Week." And I says, I'd like to do something for our veterans on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but I want to stay with our programming, our daily programming that we have, because on Mondays we cover business and entrepreneurship. On Tuesdays, we cover finding health naturally. On Wednesdays, we do, youth and leadership. And what that is, that's a two-fold kind of a show. The first part, if we have young guests on there, if we want to tell stories about young guests, it's about young people, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, whatever, who have either created a business, started a nonprofit or a cause with the idea of filling a need and making their community a better place to live. And today, of course, we've got Mark on here because youth making a difference, it also requires good, positive mentorship. And so on Monday, we're going to have veterans who are in business or have something to do with entrepreneurship. Tuesday, we're going to have veterans in there that going to bring some good information about natural cures, health, herbs, whatever. And Wednesday, we're going to have, we may have one or two on here. We're not sure, but we'll just get some extra chairs here in the studio, no problem. But they're going to be mentors who have helped young people. Thursdays, of course, that's a fun day. We talk about pets. We love it. If you don't like pets or you don't love your pets, well, you're at the wrong show, folks. We are, I mean, I am proud to say that she's a Corette, Korat, kitty.
oh,
I never heard of that breed before, but I am proud to say that I am her personal servant.
that's adoring.
Yeah,
Yeah, my
because
pet at home has rescued my family as well. His name's Mo, and we have a little page for him that I started called Veteran Rescue Dogs on Facebook, and we
oh,
have a few doggies that he's posted
mm.
himself, as the mascot of our family, the Greens.
He's a
And
paw
he is just a
producer.
wonder. Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
paw producer.
yeah. And then on Friday, of course, is Women in Leadership. We're going to have female soldiers who have either have served or are serving. Doesn't matter. We're gonna just give this a great opportunity, and it's our way of saying, I served for 31 years in the military. I'm a retired master sergeant. Served in Vietnam, 69, 70. And we've got skin in the game here. We're not doing it for to up our ratings or anything like that. We're doing it from the heart, from the right reason. And talking about Mark, when I got to get to this here, folks, I've got to
Mhm.
get to this because I called Mark. I was just, wanting to know if he could help me find some veterans that would fit those daily programs. That was my sole reason in contacting him. And guess what he brought to the party? Would you share with what you and your dad recently have done and completed? Oh my goodness.
So, as of current 2022, we conducted what's called Veterans Across the Heartland, a documentary inspired show that we will be producing in 2023. And the release date has not been published to the public yet.
Hmm.
We are still in the editing phase. However,
Hmm.
we have conducted over 20 interviews with people of interest in the military community,
Hmm.
stemming all the way from World War II to Vietnam, till today, to current day wars that we're dealing with.
Hmm.
Um, all across the board. I mean, there are so many beautiful people in this world that have stories that
Hmm.
went overseas and went into enemy lines and
Hmm.
haven't been able to tell their stories, and those
Hmm.
who have been able to tell their stories through authorship
Oh
and
yeah.
stewardship. And I just believe in the ability that people can understand freedom in a
Hmm.
different fashion,
Yeah.
and this is what Veterans Across the Heartland is all about: military transition
Sure.
and purpose
Oh yeah.
that you found after you
Hmm.
were out of the service.
Hmm.
And if anyone
Absolutely.
is out there struggling right now with your transition, please do look for help, because
Mm,
there is help out there and it doesn't make you weaker. It makes
mhm.
you stronger
Oh, yeah.
within your community.
Mhm,
And not to mention, I guarantee you that there is a veteran out there, not just like you, but is going through that same transition
mhm.
out of service to
Yeah.
civilian life. And if any of the enlistment guys or the officers understand that you become civilian, you may have been an officer before, but civilian life is definitely different.
Oh, yeah, it's a challenge too because I remember I laughed when, Stormin Norman retired, the commanding general there of
Yes.
Desert Storm,
Hmm.
and, he said, "When I was in the military," I said, "I need this done by now," and it got done. Now
Yes,
I'm a
sir.
civilian. He says, I called the plumber up. Well, I'll be over there. Let's see. If I don't get over there Tuesday afternoon, it may be Wednesday afternoon. He said, that's a total downshift from me, Schwarzkopf, General Schwarzkopf. But also, too, in your travels, you guys actually interviewed a 99-year-old veteran who was, I guess
From
he's
Iwo Jima.
probably the last one from Iwo Jima that witnessed the raising of the American flag. That is
Absolutely.
huge.
He was honorable to us. He let us in his home
Mm.
and fed us lunch and cared for us and showed us nothing but love.
Wow.
And honestly, it was an experience unworthy of describing, besides pure joy and
Mhm.
happiness and
Sure.
love. Like
Sure.
those three words could describe it the best.
Mm.
And he was kicking, he says, every morning I get up and I get in this chair and I watch the beauty of nature.
Wow.
And there's a few other parts in our documentary during his interview where we show the farm that he lives on, the beautiful parts of Tennessee,
Mhm.
and the people he's surrounded by as well, like his beautiful
Yeah.
daughter, and a little bit of his book as
Mm.
well that he
Yeah.
wrote. Um,
Oh, that's
so yeah, you
that's
can
that's
find
just
all of that.
incredible.
Uh, Veterans Across the Heartland.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
it's gonna be coming out
I'm gonna
next year.
be, maybe I shouldn't say this on the air, but we're very informal here, and we're very, just down to earth. But, we have of course, we broadcast Monday through Friday, 5 days a week.
Uh-huh.
They saw me coming and said, "Hey, this guy do 5 shows a week, no problem." But, realistically, on some of the time in addition to my TV time, we have the prerogative at E360 TV to broadcast special events on Live Central, and I'd like to, we will get together on this, and please make a mental note of that because you'll be the first line knowing when it's ready. But let's put together a special for that, a 90-minute special on the upcoming event. And I'd be more than honored to host that with you, if I may.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
would say that we could do a viewing party live
Mhm.
at our establishment over in Tennessee.
Mhm.
I
Oh, yeah.
believe it's the golf course, For Honor Golf. Sorry,
Mm.
Missouri. For
Missouri.
Honor Golf in Missouri. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
That sounds cool. Yeah, because your dad was telling me all the things he did to help you uh, get geared up to do all this camera work and all that. Would you share a little bit about that? Because that I found that story interesting.
So my father supports a lot of people, not just myself.
Sure.
He's part of a group, Third Wave Volunteers, hosted by a wonderful lady, Allison Thompson, um, and she has brought light to other people as well. But with this specific job, we were to hire one cameraman. My cameraman was Drew D. Bunner. He's a friend from college, and I also worked with John, who is was our security for
Mm.
the ride. So we decided to pack our bags, put it all in the truck, and this four-wheeler Jeep style, truck, this
Real man
military,
truck, over
tank
hills, over
vehicle.
dale.
That was just, it was just the four of us.
Mhm.
And we just go around. We filmed as much B-roll as we possibly could. We set up the interview styles impromptu. We went to Fort Honor Gulf. We went to Texas, Missouri, uh, Tennessee. We stopped in for a little bit. We went to
Mm.
Georgia, North Carolina, even where I hear you're from,
Oh
Shelby.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
We were more on the northwestern side.
Oh, you guys
Um,
went over to the low rent district side, huh?
yeah. We went around, basically we did a circle, coming from Texas all the way over to Florida again,
Sure.
and that was
Sure.
the trip move,
Hmm.
for us, just having my sound bag and,
Hmm.
my camera guy with all of his lights, and he was
Hmm.
gaffing and camera operating at the same time, so two-man crew who have knowledge of film, and then, our two wonderful enlistment officer breakdown to help us
Mm.
get through the actual journey.
That sounds like. And how
So
long was this journey now? How long had you guys
this was
gone?
a week. It
A
was a
week, huh?
solid 10-day event, 15
Mhm.
days to be exact.
Yeah.
But 10 days of filming total.
Mm.
And the 5 days of, well, we had a month to prep,
Right.
and we had the 5 days to edit all of the interviews, get them sent out to people.
Wow.
And once that was done, we're just waiting back for all of the answers so that we
Hmm.
may put the people where they want to be,
Mm.
conduct the episodes. We have a few more things that we have yet to do in the post production phase. And
Mhm.
like I said, yeah, that's going to be coming out next year.
Oh, wow. I'm
And
looking so
I don't
forward to that.
like I said, I don't have an exact date. We're still
Oh, yeah.
hearing back from people,
Yeah.
so yeah,
You and I, we know one thing. We follow the energy. And
absolutely,
and
sir.
I mean that sincerely because we've all heard the joke, "If you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans." Well, when when you follow the energy, you're following the natural way that you should be going, the real pathway that you should be following because no offense, folks, I'm not smart enough and you're not smart enough either to figure all that out. That's way too complicated. That's above my pay grade anyway.
I'm right
But
there
yeah,
with you, my friend.
we follow the energy on that because when you do, it's going to turn out good. I won't say perfect, but it's going to turn out good because you got to figure in the human element there. Us humans, we can goof up anything.
Well, there's a
But
lot of different documentaries out there about
mhm.
freedom,
Oh
and
yeah,
I can't name a few of them off the top of my head, but the ones that the multitude that we watched were more gearing towards the wars and how they
yeah,
felt during them, and what really went
mhm.
on, digging for information.
Yeah,
Rather,
yeah,
we
yeah.
want to know the emotional, like what
Mhm.
differs from all the other documentaries is that we want emotion. We
Bingo.
showed our emotions
Yeah,
out there, raw, pure,
yeah,
and there were some things that they talked about that happened, but
yeah.
that's cut out due to the fact that it's really about how they felt
Right,
out
right.
there
For
and
example,
here,
you can
well, in
probably
America.
appreciate this interviewing Vietnam veterans. I tell people the thing that really got to me when I came back from Vietnam. I came back. Actually, I was came back unassigned,
Mhm.
and what happened was I extended over there, but my medical orders got revoked because I had jungle rot on my feet. And this old colonel says, "Son, you need to get out of here. So I'm going to send you back in the world so you can heal up. You've done your time over here, you know." And I
Mhm.
said, "He said, I'm going to medically revoke that extension." I said, "You can do that, sir." He says,
Sending
"Son,
you with the IV and just,
yeah,
yep, saying
yeah."
you're
He said,
posted
"Son,
out.
you see this bird on my collar?" He said, "You beep, right, I can." And within 10 days, I was home, but I didn't have that wind down time. But none of us knew anything about the shock of coming home. And it felt like I was walking around a dream world. And then people would look at you, and even I heard my mother and one of my sisters talk about what's wrong with Jim. They thought I walk in the door, "Hey, boy, I'm glad to be home. Hallelujah. Thank you, sweet Jesus." But our world did not turn that way. It was just like, well, it's just the same way when you go to college or something like that, or you've moved away from home for a year or two, you go back. See what happens. Home, you get into a freeze frame in your mind. Then you go home and you say, "Well, that's changed. Where'd they go?" And that What happened to that business, you know?
Not
And
even to mention the
yeah.
emotions that while you're on your way back, you're
Oh,
expecting something
oh,
and you're
totally different.
expecting it to be a certain way, and
Yeah.
maybe it is to be expectant to be perfect,
Mhm,
when your wife or your husband is coming back, it's a different feeling for everybody.
mhm.
And I bet everyone's is saying seen some of those coming home videos where
Oh,
the
yeah.
brother surprises the son, or the other brother, or the dad's the son of the mom coming back from war. But really, after that, there's a part where they are challenged to now adapt to
Mhm.
their sons or brothers' lives
Yeah.
that they've now had
Oh,
over the
yeah.
time of deployment, because things have changed. The time has
Mhm.
passed. It's like if I were to send someone to the moon, one of your best friends, or if I was to send your mom to the moon, and say, hey, you got to be there for a year. Not, don't, come onto the radio once in a while, maybe say hi to your son.
Mhm.
um and that, after a while, you've said hello, 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 and the conversation is the paper thin conversations, as I call them, but they're still very
Right.
strong,
Yeah.
covering each other, in
I
love and
understand.
embrace.
Mhm.
But when you finally are out, not having someone in the back of your head always telling you what to do, there's that moment you were describing, of difference,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
change,
yeah. Because
of
over there, you build up the, the home as being like a place where the sun always shines, the birds are always singing, you're gonna be happy, happy, and the world doesn't turn that way. And when I came back in 1970, I was, 21 years of age, and, it just it felt like I was walking around in a dream world. And
mhm,
see, that leads me right into that's why people need good mentors at all ages. We had nobody. I mean, I didn't have anybody other than people, looking at me. And one of the most common things that I felt, no one really said it, but I kind of felt it, and others did too, was that how come you're not just snapping with it and getting back into the the way life is? How come you
mhm.
can't get with the program? And we just were not mentally able to shift that gear.
There
I
wasn't a
mean,
military mentor program at the time either.
wait, I never heard of PTSD. You know how smart the Army was when I was in Vietnam in 69, 70, throughout the Vietnam War. They figured if they give us 3-day passes down to Vung Tau, in-country R&R, they called it. And I think we got one out of country, a 5-day or 7-day R&R. We just go down there and drink it all up, and come back. Yeah, let's go get them. I mean, they
Like
don't
another
realize.
VFW, but on site.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. I don't even go to. I'm a lifetime member of the VFW, but I don't go to
of
the
course.
VFW here because I just, I don't drink, and I don't need to sit around with. It's going to sound terrible, but it would
There's
sound terrible. I'm not going to
there's a
say it. It's
there's a
just a
double-edged sword when talking about the VFWs,
yeah,
that I
yeah,
know about. I've been in a few
yeah.
myself.
Yeah, and
Um,
back in the 70s, they didn't even want us in there because Vietnam was not declared a war, and that stuck with, that's that stuck with a lot of Vietnam vets. And I tell people
mhm.
just get over it. And we're going to do a couple more shout outs here. I've got the marquee up there to remind me. That's one of the nice things about running marquees up there. Donna Gingwa is my business partner. She's a co-host here, producer and co-host. And at her website there, DonnaGingwa.com. If you want to get in touch with her, you can get in touch with High Energy right now. Donna offers 30 minutes of complimentary consultation on what's blocking your energy. Donna's got experience in that game because the very day that she was diagnosed, or the doctor told her that she had MS, she was going after that doctor's visit into another doctor's visit to schedule her first one of 3 brain surgeries because she had an aneurysm in her head and
Oh.
behind her right eye. And the first one was an exploratory to see how big is it. The second one was to repair it. And the third one, of course, was to make sure that the repair was good.
Mhm.
But it left Donna for a long time. I think it was about 2 years, if I remember correctly. and I could be wrong on the time. But anyway, it left her for a very, very long time. She could not complete a full sentence. Her mind knew the words, but being able to transfer the words to her tongue and out her mouth was a disconnect. So she was looking for ways to find, energy, to set herself free. And she knew once she found that there were others out there that could actually benefit from that. So if you're out there and you like to speak with Donna, she's a great lady, a great friend of mine. We're just brother and sister by different mothers. That's basically it, because we're all family. Everybody is. We're all brothers and sisters by different mothers. And some of us come from better looking mothers than others. Maybe scratch that last mark. We're not going to put that in there. We got to have a little humor. But the fact of it is that Donna will be more than happy to share 30 minutes of her time to give you a private consultation to see how she can point out where you get your energy blocked, what's holding you back, that sort of thing. And I can say the same thing about Mr. Bill Heinrich. Mr. Bill Heinrich, the author of The 7 Levels of Truth. I'm going to see if I got his website up here. I think I do. I may not. Let's see here. The 7 Levels of, here it is. TrueLifePurposeNow.com. Just get in touch with Bill, and Bill will give you 30 minutes of consultation. And I'm telling you, I know these two people very, very dear to me. I know them very, very well. It is 100% impossible for you to have a conversation with one, or I recommend both. And this is going to make a difference in your life. It really will. And we want to give another shout out to a friend of yours. And I'm going to let you take this, Mr. Michael Richardson. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, please do,
I got to
sir.
tell you about this guy.
Yeah.
I met him about 3 months ago. Maybe a few more months ago. But he's a great entrepreneur, businessman, and soon to be along nonprofit organizer
Right.
for youth that is struggling with creative intentions. Anyone who's going through life that is within the younger crowd, boys and girls club style. He wants to host clubs like those to give parents more time with their children, seeing what they do, what they create, how they act, and also giving time for their work so that later they can have more time with their children as well. As I understand, there's a big influential movement that is starting to happen in areas that are having children unplanned, as well as other areas that are looking for outlets to support their children. And Drake is the name, the acronym. The last 2 letters are Create Everything. They're for young adults to express themselves and find their understanding of themselves in art.
Sure. I really like it because a lot of kids, they have this creativity, and many times I'll just use myself as an example so I don't, offend anyone. My daughter and son, they had creative talents to, different degrees, but I did not encourage it. I hate to say that. I mean, I was just young, busy working, caught up in life. And I think it's a wonderful
somewhere. Yeah, the arts are not somewhere that people like to make a lot of. They don't think it's going to make them a lot of money or be successful.
Yeah.
Or stuff like that.
I got to be honest about myself. I don't think I was smart enough to recognize that, they need a little more encouragement. I'd say that's nice and stuff like that. But I'll be honest with you, folks. I was just too young and too dumb. And I'm 74 now, and I'm starting to get a little smart. So the time I hit 300, I might be, the lights may be on and I may be home. You never can tell. But realistically, I think it's a wonderful thing that he's doing there, because giving kids that encouragement to be creative. Oh my goodness gracious. Because every invention came from an idea.
Absolutely. And he also, not only for the arts and creative industries, but education as well, to educate them and strive for those young adults and children.
Oh yeah. And making education fun. That's the challenge. Because when I was in school, it wasn't that I was dumb. I was bored. I mean, realistically, I was. I'm being honest, and because they just the stuff that we were. I'm not saying we had a bad school system. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that for me, during that period of time, the topics I went through and all, it just I found, when it came to math, I enjoyed math and I excelled in that.
Yeah.
And my parents asked me, says, "How come you're getting A's in math and C's and D's in world history?" Well, I wasn't, I just it
It's
was
those
me.
artistic intentions.
It was
Yeah.
me. I'm going to take the blame for that. I'm not going to blame anybody else. I'm going to own it. I just did. I was too young and too dumb to appreciate the value that all those hundreds of thousands of millions of people contributed individually, collectively to make this world what it is today, good and bad,
Mm-hmm.
And I just, sometimes in life it's best just to be honest about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And he wants to empower the youth to
Mm,
embrace their artistic fellowships
yeah.
through mentoring and their stewardship. So
Hmm.
their writing,
And
their
so,
actual literature that
yeah, so
they create as well.
pardon me, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Oh, no,
To get in
we're good.
touch with Michael Richardson, you can find him
Mhm.
on Instagram at Mike_Rich999. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, on
And
Instagram, Mike Rich.
yeah, that's a good place to stay in touch with him because I'd like to, in the future, somewhere down the road, we can get this. Hopefully, get Michael on the radio show, on the TV show. I do 5 TV shows and a radio show a week. So if I seem a little punch drunk, that's why. 6 live shows a week is
Busy,
uh
busy.
yeah,
Making it
it
work
is.
though, making it happen, letting the
Oh
people
yeah.
see it.
Yeah, just eat a big bowl of Wheaties in the morning and just mainline coffee.
Hey, now we got some waffles in the house over here too. It's like Donkey said, I'm making waffles.
Oh, mercy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. We're going to meet over at Adam's house for waffles and coffee.
See ya.
Oh, I tell you, in talking about the work that your dad has done, and I know he's been a mentor to a lot of young people because he was a military officer. He's a retired colonel, isn't that right?
Absolutely. Retired colonel of 34 years in service.
Wow. Yeah. My 31 years in service, I was 3 years active duty and 28 years in the reserves. I became an instructor in the United States Army. And I tell people that was the greatest job I've ever had in my life. I mean, I just love being an instructor. And what's really amazing about that, at one time, I suffered from glossophobia.
Mm.
And sometimes when I'm talking to
Glossophobia.
people, I tell them, I used to suffer from glossophobia, and they'll kind of like look at you and, want to back up a little bit. But glosso comes from the Greek word tongue. And we know
Okay.
what a phobia is, and it's the fear of public speaking. And
Ah.
a lot of people did not realize that I had that. And that scarred me when I was in the 5th grade. We had to give oral book reports when I went to Lattimore Elementary School there in Lattimore, North Carolina. And first time the teacher said we're going to get oral book reports, immediately I was petrified. I don't know why, but I was. And then she's telling about all these things, and I'm racing through my mind. I figure, well, the day I'm going to have to give mine, I'll just tell Mom, Mom, my stomach hurts. I'm sick. I don't feel good today. And try to scoot under the radar. And she says,
Yeah.
if you're sick that day, we'll just reschedule. I'm like, strike one. And then I said, well, the only thing I really read is comic books. And then she says, you got to go to the school library.
Oh,
You got to
how
pick
many
out a
comic
book.
books are in the school libraries, huh?
Zilcho.
Yep.
But we had to go there, pick out a book, bring it back to her, and she'd look at it and she'd record it. Okay, that's what you're going to read. That's what you're going to report on. So when I went into the school library, being the smart kid that I was, guess what kind of a book I was looking for? Adam, would you take a guess?
I could only think of one thing, and that might be a fantasy book.
Well, I didn't really care about what the topic was. I was looking for the skinniest book they had in the
Oh,
whole place.
the shortest one you could find, maybe 50 pages max.
And I accomplished it. But my point being, given those, it was a horrible experience for me.
Mm,
And for decades, I just simply, avoided public speaking.
mhm.
I was able to camouflage it. No one really knew it because people that knew me says, "You were afraid of public speaking?" Petrified of it. Now I could sit in a boardroom, give a report, but getting up front of 15, 20 people and talking,
Some
not
public
going to
speaking.
happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
not
is
going to
a
happen.
force,
Oh yeah.
people and skill that people,
And
create and do a
and
lot.
following the energy as 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 life would have it, when I volunteered for Operation Desert Storm, and
Mm,
when I came back off of that, that's when they were shutting down a lot of units. Well, my unit shut down, so I had to find a new home. Either that or just finish up, give up my military career without a retirement. And I thought, no, I got too much time to invest in that.
huh,
And so I only needed about an extra 5 or 7 years or something like that. And so I was looking around, looking around, looking around, and really couldn't find anything. I found one unit in, you know, because I was living out on the west side of Houston at the time. Found a unit there. It was Navy, and I thought, well, they fly to San Diego every weekend. When they go down there once a month, I'm going like, I don't know. I'd get kind of old. I'm thinking. And then I
yeah,
found a unit.
tropical paradise over there in Cali.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I was thinking about the jet lag back and forth because I've flown a lot.
Oh,
I'm going like, oh
yeah,
man,
the
yeah,
sleep
going over and
apnea
then
of that.
yeah, the hour difference and all that. And then I found a unit over in Beaumont, Texas. It was a United States Army Reserve School, and I was going to go over and be their finance officer since I had a 73 Charlie MOS background.
There you
And they
go.
said, you will also be a instructor. And I thought, well, maybe I can skate around that. I've been able to pull it off so many times, but this one here, they took the slack out of the chain. I had to
Yep.
become an instructor. And I write a book on or not a book, an article on overcoming the fear of public speaking. And I give that to people for free if they want it. And they can get in touch with us here at the TV station. Let me put up the email address there. Messages of Inspirational Stories TV. Our email address here at the TV station is inspiration@e360tv.com. And, but little did I know that experience turned out to be the greatest job I ever had. In fact, I mandatorily retired after 31 years, and I think they said something about I was just at age 56, I was getting too old and too ugly or something like that. But it
That's
was,
the ribbing for you in the
yeah,
military. We love to do that.
but, and I had the honor, and it is an honor. I was invited 3 times to attend the Sergeant Major's Academy in El Paso, but I did not want to accept that because my son was overseas over in support of Operation Enduring Freedom, the
Mhm.
first part of the Gulf. I mean, the war over there on Terra, and it was a 6 month, residential course. And I was still running my company. And I thought, man, I can't take off for 6 months. And then I was thinking, well, can I logistically support the 9 states that I'd be over? And I'm thinking, I'm having a hard time right now because I'm covering the state of Louisiana and adding 8 more states. And I'm going like, if I can't
Where's
be, yeah, if I can't do the job, I'm not going to accept the responsibility. It wasn't I was mentally limited. It's just I was physically, I didn't have the time in
Yeah, you
running the
had to
company.
delegate, it looked like,
Oh
quite a
yeah,
bit if you were
yeah,
to.
yeah. And I just, I had enough respect for the uniform and myself and the reputation I had that I just said, no, I can't do it. And I graciously thanked them for the opportunity because, as you very well know, your father would definitely know that whenever you get invited to put in for an academy like a sergeant major's, they pretty much already got their mind made up on who they're going to handpick. I mean,
Absolutely,
that's just
and
the way that world turns.
no, absolutely, you're right, and there are already determined actions,
Yes,
everywhere in the
yeah,
military,
yeah,
predetermined and already determined.
absolutely.
So
So
whoever
that's my
is
claim
looking
to
out for
fame.
you know what I mean? They'll
Yeah.
look out for you too.
But
That's
see,
very true.
in following the energy, that was not the best route for me.
Mhm.
And see, egotistically, I might say, yes, I want that. I want to be a retired, either sergeant major or command sergeant major. Yes. So I could say it. But see, if you look at it realistically and the energy's not there, that means you're heading into another direction. And
Mm.
that's exactly what happened. And as a result, it was a win-win situation. It really was. It was an honor to be invited 3 times and by 3 different individuals. And it's an honor to be here with Adam today and to know your father. And it's just, to be for our show to be internationally popular all over the world. That's truly a blessing. And people ask
Jim,
me,
absolute blessing over here as well.
yeah,
Grateful for you even
mm,
having me on the show today.
oh,
It was more than, you know, crazy at the same time
yeah, oh
because,
yeah.
there's a lot
It
of
was a
people
short
out
notice
there that
too.
we wanna
we had
we
a
wanna
we had a we had
touch,
a gentleman wanted to be on here, and he was sick and couldn't make it. So
Mhm.
I called up Adam, and Adam said, "Yeah, I can do it. Hey, send me
Yeah,
in,
we just
Coach."
wanna spread the positive love,
Yeah,
positive affirmations,
mhm.
and gratitude to people,
Sure,
that are
sure.
less fortunate as well as those who
Yeah,
are fortunate to share the message
mhm,
that selfless service is super important, and it
yeah.
only starts with you.
Yeah. What's
So,
my
that's
chances of
overall.
this old retarded? I tell people I'm officially retarded. I got a government document says I'm officially retarded. What are the chances of this old retarded master sergeant drafting your dad to be here on the show with us? I bet I could get him on here, couldn't I?
Yeah, you probably could, yeah,
Yeah,
all
because
you gotta do is just
I know
schedule,
he's
pencil
busy
them
and
in,
all
and
that. I'm going to get with him, and our schedule, what we're doing there, and
Mhm,
I'm just going to let him know, hey, when you're ready, we're here. you know.
mhm.
And it's just because your dad is just a fantastic person on all
Oh,
fronts. He really
he's
is. Heart of
yeah,
gold.
he's
Heart of
something
gold.
that you guys will all enjoy.
He has he has demonstrated how much he gives back and gives back and gives back. I have seen that personally by what little bit I've had to do with him. I mean, he's true to his school when it comes to a giving heart. He really is. And I imagine, growing up and having him as a dad was really a blessing for you. And I know I really, I'm so thankful you guys have so much to common to work together. And and for him to say, "Here, son, here's a camera. Now you learn how to operate that thing." That's what us real men do for our sons. We,
Oh, hey, I mean, if it's changing out a tire or changing the, you know,
oh yeah,
light bulb in the front, light bulb in the back, whatever it is for the rear
oh yeah,
or front lights,
oh
uh,
yeah. If
changing the
those,
oil out, whatever it is, it's
yeah,
growing up with him was fun. It was
oh
great.
yeah, yeah,
And I even to this day will still say that I am growing with my father.
mhm,
So
yeah,
there's an ultimate
mhm,
medium for everybody. And if you so choose to desire to find positive influence in your life or positive meditation as well
mhm,
for your own sake, then
mhm,
definitely
yeah.
search for that and strive for that.
I never will forget my first conversation with your dad. I don't know how it came up.
Mhm,
But when I volunteered for Operation Desert Storm, I did not go overseas. They sent me because I had a finance background to Fort McPherson, Georgia.
mm,
At that time, that was the home of FORCECOM, Forces Command, because there's the Pentagon up here with the Army, and then the next step down is Forces Command. And of course, Forces Command now is up in Alexandria, Virginia, close to or
mhm,
inside the Pentagon. But at that time, back in 1990, it was headquartered at Fort McPherson, Georgia. And your dad was very familiar with Fort Gillem. So we're talking for 45 minutes about military post. And we're talking about all the things that Fort McPherson was so small. All they had was a cafeteria that was open during business hours and a bowling alley. We didn't even have a SmackDonald's there. So if you were hungry, because our guys were working 24/7.
Oh
So
yeah, I bet.
therefore, if you were hungry, you had to you couldn't catch MARTA because that little mobile train down there, that little electric train, it shut down at midnight. And I remember one time we were downtown Atlanta and it's a quarter to 12. And I go, hey guys, we got to get back. MARTA's going to shut down. I mean, otherwise, we're going to have to do some humping and some pumping and doing some walking. And so
Nope, some marching. Yep.
oh, yeah. We were 45 minutes, maybe an hour first talking about that. And he just got a big kick out of it. But your dad said something to me I never forgot. He says, when my wife walks in the door, I shut off the computer, I get off of the internet, and I'm with her. That's amazing. And my wife comes in. Hey, Ev, how you doing? We've been married since 1971, so it's been
That's
52 years or whatever. Yeah, and
wonderful.
I don't know why she puts up with me. Everybody that knows me and her, they tell me that she deserves a medal. I don't know what they're talking about.
I don't know what they're talking about either, my friend. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm not married myself. I'm a
Mhm.
single man. But hey, I
Oh
know
yeah.
that 30 years is a lot
Oh
to
yeah.
be proud of
Oh
and
yeah.
to honor.
We're at 50, 51, I think it is. Yeah, it's 51
Oh,
years.
wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, the way I look at it, I mean, she's a wonderful lady. I mean, this is going to sound terrible, but I'm going to say it. I mean, if she knows I got to go somewhere get on the road early or something like that, I go and put the coffee pot on or turn the coffee on and go hit the shower. By the time I come out of the shower, I got a cup of coffee there waiting for me.
Mhm.
And it just goes to show the act of respect and love. And I, she likes to do laundry a certain way. So when she was down at my daughter's house, Lisa, because my great granddaughter had to have open heart surgery. Last week, yeah,
Oh.
she had a hole in her heart. The doctors originally thought she was born with two holes in her heart. It's only one, but that
Mhm.
thing was 3 centimeters long and 2 centimeters wide. Now, a centimeter, ladies and gentlemen, 3 centimeters is 1.18 of an inch long. And she's only 4. And I'm still mentally struggling with that. So whenever she came back home, I made sure I had all the clothes and, bed sheets and made and all that stuff. And, that was my way of saying, welcome home.
Made
I
sure
appreciate you. Yeah. And all the dishes were done and, that sort of thing. I mean,
made sure she was ready to
passions.
receive some love.
Yeah. So she's come in and not walk into a place that looked like a tornado hit it. Came in the front door and went out the back door. Honey, you wouldn't believe this. This
Tornado
tornado
was
hit
still
the
going
house.
on. Yep.
It came in the front door. I had to run over and open up the back door and let it out. I don't think she would have bought that one either. But I mean, doing things out of respect, that's what makes love in a life worth living. It really does. It really does. And
Mhm.
the things I do for her, the things she does for me, automatically, you just do it without thinking. And I don't know how we got off on all that, but I mean, we're
Hey,
getting into the
we're talking
close
about
to the,
family because that's
yeah,
important,
yeah,
and ladies and gentlemen, if you got family out there, trust me, just
mm,
love
yes.
them,
When it
love them to
comes to
death.
love, you got to love yourself first, and you also got to have the courage to love someone enough to overlook their shortcomings, their faults, and that sort of thing. And I'm sure my wife has got a bunch of love in that area.
And
But
like you said, before, sometimes it's without thinking.
yes,
So, I
yes,
usually tell my friends that are in the industry of film, and AV work, that's kinda where I'm mainly at right now.
mhm,
Shout out Phoenix Industries,
mhm,
LLC or Incorporated, sorry.
mhm,
They've been helping me out with jobs and stuff like that, but at the same time, just do. The more you think about what you're going to do is the more time less doing it
mhm.
than actually doing it.
Oh yeah,
Active planning is different
mhm,
than thinking about it.
yeah.
Um,
Sometimes when you're dreading a job, thinking about it and going over your mind probably takes longer than or as long as to get the job done, have it behind you.
like the
But ladies
to-do list
and
can
gentlemen,
be as long as it needs to be, but if you're not doing anything on the to-do list, it keeps racking up. I tell
oh
you
yeah,
what.
oh yeah. Two
So,
things, we got to
mhm,
cover. Number one,
mhm.
I'm out of coffee. Number two, we're out of time. So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Adam and myself, thank you so much for tuning in. It's an honor for us to have Adam here on the show with us. And we're just honored that you tuned in. Thank you so much. Remember to love yourself first, then you can love others. And most importantly, as Donna likes to say, give yourself grace. And that's so critical in life. And thank you again for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. Adam, thank you very much for being here, brother. We appreciate you.
I'll
Thank you
save
so
y'all
much.
some waffles next time.
That's hey, you heard it from the man
There you
himself. We'll
go.
see you tomorrow.